Why is inner work your most important job now? And why is the body so important? This is the first talk in a row of talks about body and soul. And this first talk is about consciousness. And my name is Helle Byskov Jensen. And since it's a talk, it's supposed to be with two people. And I'm so pleased to welcome Christina Avanée to this talk. Welcome, Christina.
Thank you.
So, what is your immediate sort of gut feeling about how to answer why is inner work so important right now?
Um, my first response would be it's always been important. But if right now it's even more important because we cannot rely on any external like inputs, I would say, but also there's so much chaos around us and there's so many opinions, there's so many different solutions. That's all of them are always the best, each of them. And everyone is saying that this is the right solution, but nobody knows what's best for you. You are the only one that knows what's best for you. And you have your internal guidance system, which is, in my opinion, your soul, and that leads you where you need to be.
Yes, yeah, precisely. And I would also say, simply because, as you point out, there's so much chaos right now. When we're in the middle of a lot of changes around us, then my suggestion is definitely center yourself and
Mm,
get to know yourself, because then you can more readily figure out what's the best way for me, what do I need to do precisely right now in
mm,
order to be safe, of course, but also to move in the best direction.
mm.
But Christina, perhaps you should just introduce yourself briefly. Who are you?
Who am I? That's a good question, and I ask myself that often. Well, I'm a human being.
It's that.
And I've always been really interested in working with the soul. It's since I was a kid, it's been fascinating to me, and it's been very natural for me to believe in having a soul and having that kind of respect for the soul and respect for the human being as well, because the human being is a vessel for the soul. So I work with people and their souls. I guide them. I'm a soul guide and I'm an intuitive mentor. And I create soul icons and soul guiding marks, which is symbols that I've somehow can channel, I've figured out, which helps the people I work with to connect to their soul essence. And
Yeah,
it's activating symbols. Yeah.
super. Thank you. And then it just so happens that for my part, I'm the one who is actually very much into the body, to the
Mm.
soul too. But for me, I have been extremely stressed and anxious, and I was really struggling to get back to myself and to balance and ground. And then I met Qigong, and this was the start of my journey, where I've now turned into a healer, body worker, and intuitive guide. So it's simply, for me, it was really, really difficult to calm my body and my nervous system. And and I was too much in my head, like many of us actually are these
Mm.
days, because so much is going on. And I found out that doing these health movements was actually very, very efficient. And well, from the start, I knew needed to know more about why it worked so quickly, why I felt so happy just after doing Qigong for a few hours. And I also knew right away that I had to let other people know, about these health movements. And now it has, of course, also evolved into actually be loving yourself, being conscious about your thoughts and your emotions, and a lot more. So so we have one person here, Christina, who who is sort of definitely for the soul here, and I'm definitely for the body here, but we both, do both things basically.
Yeah, because you and I met through Qigong, and that's because I needed to be grounded in my body. And I've also come to learn that how important it is to take care of your body. And I've also been really stressed and had to find a new direction, and that includes being here in the body and taking care of it. And my work is also, even though it's soul based, it's about integrating it and in the life of yours and in the body. So that's what I think is the most important thing, is that it's being grounded and being used in this lifetime and not just as fantasies.
Yeah. And I love to do Qigong with you. And we have such
Mhm.
wonderful sessions, and the energy is
Yeah.
so powerful. It's just fantastic. Okay, so let's move on to our focus for this talk, which is consciousness. How would you define consciousness, Christina?
Yeah, that's a great question.
I thought you were the
I,
perfect
I
person to ask it.
yeah. Well, I think this process is keep being open and keep asking the questions and keep being curious. So you keep broadening your perspectives and deepening your understanding in the different topics, because this is it's a new way of living. It's a new way of being a human being on this planet. And none of us has tried it before. It's a completely new energy. So we have to be very open-minded to it and very open-minded to saying, okay, this was my perspective like 2 days ago, and now suddenly I have a new realization, or come to understand something differently, because maybe I had a wonderful conversation with somebody, or just woke up and suddenly I'm in a new place because maybe I cleared some stuff that shouldn't be inside of me. So for me, I was thinking about it yesterday, how to define it once more, and I would like to say it's like an energy that's open. It's a curious energy. And I would like to talk about it as an energy consciousness. Everything is energy, we know that, but I would like to describe it like that because it's expansive. It's not a closing or narrowing down energy. And it's expanding your mind, your body, your soul, your whole energy. Um, and it's asking questions and seeks the truth. It's not about, yeah, it's really, really much about the truth, and the truth is an individual. It's not, your truth can be different from mine because we are different places and we see things differently, and that's okay. Um, yeah, I don't know if that answered the question, but it was a different kind of answer for me
Yes,
this
yeah, and I
time.
probably should add here that we are both Danish, in case
Yeah.
you are a foreigner somehow.
Mm, mm.
And we also did the talks in Danish,
Yeah.
but we
Some
felt that,
time ago, a few
yeah,
weeks ago.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we both felt that these talks, I would also like to add, are actually based on our lived experiences. So what we're talking about is what we have experienced, what life is like for us right now. And so we hope that some of what we say you might relate to, some of what we say might help you navigate these strange times that we actually live in many ways. So the talks are simply offerings to you. Feel free to, take from it what you might be able to use, and we would really love that. Um,
Mm.
Yeah, so if I should try to then say a
Mm,
bit about
yes,
consciousness,
I'd love to hear what you said.
because as we talked about, consciousness is actually a very, very big subject. And
Mm,
in these talks, we're trying to have a subject for each talk, but we will definitely stray to other subjects and so on. And it's also simply because we don't have an agenda for the talk. We are simply just following our intuition here. So we are saying what we feel is important to bring right now in this moment in time.
no notes, almost no notes. It's
Well, yeah,
very little.
I wrote a couple of things because I would
Yeah,
really like to include this, but sometimes it's not
yeah.
gonna be part of it anyway,
Mm,
because
mm,
the energy was different.
exactly.
But consciousness is, I think, what it is being alive, basically, because we
Mm,
need to be here right now. We
mm,
need to be in the present moment. And
mm,
when you are in the present moment, you are conscious.
mm,
You hear, you see, you feel, you sense, you smell,
mm,
and you are acutely aware. Acute is maybe not the right word, but you really are completely focused on what you're in. And I can say for myself, for the moment, I actually have this strange feeling that, there is sometimes I just feel there is only this present moment.
mm,
I'm living so much in the now that,
mm,
the past,
mm,
it doesn't pop up.
mm,
And the present, it's gonna come, or so I mean the
mm. In
future,
future, yeah.
it's gonna come, but no worries because everything is fine.
Mm,
And so consciousness, if we're then going to also talk a bit about the body can actually block your consciousness. So
mm,
if you are too uptight, if you have too many struggles behind you and you're still struggling, it doesn't really matter what it is, but when you're struggling, your body knows it because you tense up.
mm,
And as soon as we do that, the body gets this note from
mm,
you. Now you just need to pay attention because we may have to
mm,
fight or flight,
mm,
yeah, go into the stress reaction.
mm,
That's what the body thinks. So
mm,
that's why it's also so important that we are conscious in the present
mm,
so that
mm,
we can take our time to just notice. An example could be listening to the news. So if there
mm,
are bad news on the news, just take a breath and just figure out, okay, is this stressing my body? Do I get anxious now?
mm,
Then just take a breath and have a look around and, feel your body perhaps even. And
mm,
is there a need for me to worry now?
mm,
Most likely not.
mm,
So that's why being in the present moment and being able to really be there and also
mm,
to know yourself very well. That
mm,
is actually what I think is basically my answer to the second question, why the body is so important. That you simply need to um, get to know your body again. Because for me, when I was extremely stressed, I had this image in my head that I was a match man, and the head was huge, and the body was very small.
mm,
And that illustrates, I think, just so clearly when we are too much in our heads, how
mm,
easily we can actually fall and our lives stop in that moment because
mm,
you cannot continue when there is an overflow in your body of stress.
mm.
So being in the present moment, and also being conscious, I think we're going to dig into that a bit more perhaps in the talk, conscious about your thoughts and your words.
Yeah, consciousness to me is also this way of being centered and also and a kind of awareness. So because it's so easy to either be out of like your soul is kind of disconnected or your essence, and it's also really easy to be disconnected from your body. And of course, it's kind of maybe the same thing, but I do actually feel that you can be both disconnected from your body and from your soul at the same time, which is really problematic because then how on earth are you going to make any decisions? How can you feel what's right and what's not right? Um, how can you feel when things are good? How do you know things are good then? And how do you know when you're maybe going down nothing is wrong, but a much harder path than that's needed right now. You could maybe choose something else where you will become aware of the lessons you need to learn in a different way, and not maybe it doesn't have to be the toughest and the hardest way every time. But when you're disconnected, it's so difficult to navigate. Um, and that's what I've also learned myself, that I've been struggling a lot with anxiety, and that kind of that's really also disconnection. Yeah,
It is.
yeah,
And yeah, I was mentioning words before. The thing is, when you're conscious, and let's just take that example, you look in the mirror, and what do you see in the mirror?
mm,
Do you see
mm,
a loving person, or do you see
mm,
someone, let's say, with wrinkles, or
mm, mm, mm,
I don't think I'm
mm.
beautiful, or what do you actually see?
Or
So,
do you actually see anything? Because it can also be, for me personally, it's also I'm not even noticing what's in the mirror.
that's another good
Yeah,
point. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. And then you're not conscious, right? Because then you're
Yeah,
not present.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. You're just not here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very good point because we all do that,
Mm,
and when you're busy also, you're not present because when
mm.
you're busy, you already,
Yeah, a
at the
few steps
next,
ahead.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're two
yeah,
steps ahead.
yeah.
And that's also why, if you have a calendar which is full, then, have a look at yourself and see, okay, where am I where I want to be in my life?
Mm,
Because most likely you're not all
mm,
that conscious, right?
mm,
Because you always have to be aware when you're in one, let's call it meeting. Then you always have to be aware at the time because you have another meeting or something else on the agenda. So of course we do have those days. That's
mm,
not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is simply when we want to work in more detail with our consciousness, then we also have to make time and space for those days or times, or even just half an hour where you can just look inside, bring your attention to yourself, to your body, and just feel,
mm,
what's in there.
mm. And ask
Breathe.
questions.
Yeah, but just also
Yeah,
breathe and just feel
yeah, yeah,
what
yeah.
comes up for you when you're
Mm.
with yourself
Yeah, yeah,
without
yeah,
any distractions, right?
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
been a while since you had your coffee. If not, you're not have had a 5 o'clock tonic
Mm,
or beer or
mm,
anything, right? So
mm,
so you're just you, and
mm,
and then if you have a busy schedule, then most likely a lot of things will pop up, right? And
mm,
things that perhaps stresses you and brings you away from the presence and away from consciousness or being conscious right now.
mm,
So that's why I always suggest to people, well, even just shake your body, just
mm,
get your body moving, but
mm,
with consciousness and
mm,
being present with the body, feeling it, maybe even doing it very slowly, because then you can still figure out what is going on in my body. And
mm,
that's what most of us need to do, like I did.
mm,
I mean, my breath was up to here.
mm, mm,
I um, I struggled breathing when I was washing my hair in the shower because,
mm,
it cut off my breath.
mm,
So it was absolutely horrible to be
mm,
in that situation. So, that's, what I hope I can just add a bit to people avoiding getting that far out. We all have we all need to go through stuff, but we can also sometimes listen to people who've walked that path and what can I learn from that?
Yeah,
So
or at least, or at least to get to understand what's going on right now, because it's not something we talk about, and especially not in Denmark. We don't talk much about how we're actually feeling and what's actually going on with us, and what we actually think about. How is your life going? How are you actually? It's not something we talk about. We don't. It's not in our culture. So it can be very lonely to have these experiences because we don't really talk about it. We say, okay, if you have anxiety or depression, you go to the doctor and you get a prescription of something, and maybe you are allowed to not work so much. But that's what it is. And then you go back. But luckily, a lot of people are now figuring out that this is actually this break you get is because it's really important that you take this break as a pause and to understand why am I here now in this situation, and these conversations that we have. Yeah, we'd love to just share our perspective and what we've been through. So you also, for me at least, to so other people know, okay, what I'm feeling or experiencing right now is part of the awakening or is part of being more conscious. It's not because I'm broken. It's not because there's something wrong with me, actually. It's my body that's really, really responding in a natural, healthy way to something that's unhealthy and not natural, because the way our society and how life is has evolved is not for human beings. I don't know what it's for, like machines maybe, but it's not for humans because there's no room for reflection or for this present moment to feel what's good for me, and taking my time to decide, and also to being able to decide which direction to go into now.
I absolutely agree with what you say, and I also think that this is not just in Denmark, but we are focusing so much on what is outside of ourselves, right? We're focusing on maybe social media played a big role in this, but we are focusing so much on how does it look, how do I look and how does my life look? And this is not a new thing, of course. This has been going on for a long time. The point is, it's not good for us to be so focused outside of ourselves, because we have forgotten the connection to our bodies, but also to nature.
Mm.
And um, and that is a very, very, very big problem, because since we have forgotten about nature, we have also misused nature. And that's also why that we now see the earth itself actually sort of moving. The earth is also changing, just like our bodies are changing because of what is going on around us. I'm going to say a bit more about that, but before I do that, then I would just like to say that we have also chosen not to use the word spirituality. And that is a conscious decision, because I can talk for myself. Some years ago, I, of course, encountered spirituality as such, but it just did not speak to me like consciousness does today. And I've sort of come to the conclusion that for me, it felt like you had to ascend, and you had to sort of move up and move away from the earth, so to speak. And I did not feel like doing that. So now my sense is that the word spirituality belongs to that time, and consciousness for me is the word that is the most fitting for what is going on right now. And what is going on is that we are actually in a very, very special time in this life, or in the world, so to speak. I forgot the word, but never mind. I want to mention Heather Ensworth, and she's talking about the Yuga cycles, which is this cycle of life that the earth and everything goes through, the universe goes through. And in this book, you learn a lot about the past and why it is that things could change a lot and very quickly right now. I'm going to write the details about the book down here. It's called Astrological Ages and the Galactic Center, Ancient Wisdom for this time of transition, and it was Heather Ensworth. And she also talks about the fact that we are actually right now at the end of a 12,000 year cycle. And precisely at the end of that time, then a lot of changes will take place, what we do, no matter what we do as humans. But as I understand it, and this is my personal belief, what we need to do is simply work to work so hard as we can without struggling, but focusing on actually getting our focus down in our bodies and learn to live from our hearts, and being as loving and positive and caring and empathetic as you possibly can be, because this is the energy that you emanate, right? So this is what you can contribute with. And in that way, you can help us make this a good transition for everybody. So you might also think, well, there's a lot of wars now. Can I be positive? Well, again, just have a look around where you are. Are you in war right where you are? If not, then for me, I live in Denmark, as I said, and I have chosen to focus on being as happy and creative and positive as I possibly can, being in the present moment, being as much as possible with and in nature. And this is what I do to actually help us generate as much positivity to make a good change of this cycle. Well, that was a lot in there, I guess. I do have a lot
Yes.
on my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a lot. Well, I just on the top of my mind, first response here. I think this is about consciousness and yeah, what's going on in my life? Can I see like having this focus and gratitude and focusing on what's actually good? What am I actually achieving? What is my small steps towards where I want to be, and still enjoy like every as many small details as how I see it. But also like I feel what like this rising consciousness, like the collective consciousness, is inviting us to do is also to be aware of where we actually are. So yeah, I chose to incarnate in this body in Denmark, and that has some, I don't know what, it has some consequences. It has some consequences wherever you wanna or wherever you chose to incarnate, because it's different kind of country and different kind of rules and different kind of, I would say, awareness points you need to have. You ha need to be aware of, okay, what is the like we do live in a world where there's a polarization, where there's like two parts always. So there's light and dark. So that I choose to focus on the light, I also need to be aware of the darkness. I also need to be aware of what's darkness inside of me that I have to transmute to get more light inside. but it's all information. And I also need to be aware of what kind of, I don't know why I should say this now, but apparently I should. Why have I chosen to live in this construct, this reality that is in Denmark? Because we can say, yeah, there's no war here. Obviously, there's no bombs. But what's going on actually? Because there's a lot going on in this country that we cannot see, and we're not being included in or informed about. But there's a lot going on, which I feel is demanding from us to be more aware and to sharpen our consciousness of and discernment, ability to discern about what is actually is this good or bad, because it's this, there's a lot of deceivement, and there has been a lot of deceivement where you think it's on the outside looks really good, but on the inside, it's actually not really good. And I think that's also this about consciousness to really be like really broadening up your way of sensing and feeling and understanding to understand the, this different parts. There's light and dark, and also like really to learn to discern about what and that's only when you do your inner work you can feel that, because that's your navigation sensor. You cannot, if you look at what the media is telling you, you cannot how would you know what's true or not? They can say whatever they want, right? Or whatever somebody wants them to say. But how do I know what's true for me in this? Um, yeah, so that's why I think the inner work is so important to get to know thyself, get to
Oh yeah.
know yourself in what do I like, what do I want, what do I believe, how do I see the world? How do I see the world? I think it's such a fascinating topic, because how do I actually see the world? Because I can see the world completely different from how you see the world. And we're only on two different islands in Denmark. We're not that far apart. Um, so like also like all this, when you talk about consciousness, it's also like, is it only limited to this earth? Or when we talk about energy, when we talk about space and universe and cosmos and all kinds of things. There's also this disclosure movie out now, which I watched, and I think it's absolutely brilliant. Um, to like see, and suddenly we learn, suddenly we talk light language, suddenly we channel information, suddenly we feel the energy moving in our body. Suddenly we feel we can move energy, and we can heal people and ourselves. And that's like, it's such an expansive, again, it's expansive, the energy of consciousness. It's such an expansive feeling, and to be able to hold this perspective, to be able to hold, oh, there's so much, it's so diverse, there's so many things suddenly. Like suddenly my world is so big in a way. That's something you have to be able to ground and integrate also in your system and in your body and in your nervous system, not to get afraid of suddenly feeling new sensations. Because when you open up, and when you do your inner work and you clear the blockages and trauma, then in your physical vessel, then suddenly there's room for this new energy that can do different things. And that's what really piqued my anxiety, was that suddenly I was seeing and feeling different things. And at the same time, I was grounding more into my body. So number one, in the first place, just feel my body. Oh my God. Does it feel like this? And then secondly, but these sensations, these feelings, this way of thinking or beliefs or downloads I suddenly got, I've not had that before. What is that? So yeah, that was a rant from me.
And I loved it, and I could so relate to it. And I'm thinking you also said something about choices. We don't have that much time left, but
Yeah.
I just want to also include in this that when we talk about consciousness, it's so important also for you to enable yourself to access your intuition.
Mm,
Because if you're not conscious, then then you're not in your body, and you
mm,
cannot access your intuition
mm,
in that strong way that it is when you're conscious and you learn to be in your body and feel it and are comfortable with it.
mm,
Then your intuition will just simply open up. And
mm,
for me, I've been a high school teacher for 20 years, and all of a sudden I just knew I had to quit. And it was my
mm,
intuition that told me,
mm,
well, now, you've done your job there. Now there's another important thing you need to do.
mm, mm,
And a year later, oh, you have to move back to your hometown. So I'm
mm,
I'm living there now, and my healing abilities have popped up now. Now
mm,
I'm aware of them myself, and I can heal
mm,
others and use it,
mm,
and also use it, of course, without knowing it, just
mm, mm,
being me. But
mm,
what I wanted to add was also, so it's not just our own bodies, but we also need to heal our family. We need to heal ourselves. We need to
mm,
heal our families, our uh, everyone related to you back in time
mm,
too.
mm.
And that's actually the work that I'm doing right now. I'm very conscious about it. Healing the relationship to my mom,
Yes.
particularly right now, is
Mm,
what's on my agenda.
mm,
And that is important for my progress, right?
mm,
So that's the thing. We are all connected. Everything is energy. We are all connected also with nature, and that's also why, nature is a big topic, which we're going to talk more about
mm.
at some other time.
I'd just like to add this about healing our lineages and like our ancestral trauma. That is, I think, I would say for really most of my clients I've had, people I've worked with, and myself included, and people I know in this on this path, most of us have ancestral healing to do.
Oh,
And
definitely.
it's not all. It's not all. I've had some that where it's not, and I was just like, what? Do you not have any like family history that you have to clear and stuff? But they don't, and it's also they're younger. Um, but mostly we at this time we're around now and where we are in this now, a lot of us has to do because the ancestral healing, because we have to clear the path for what's coming ahead of us. And we cannot have, we have so much trauma in our uh, vessels, in our bodies, and in our energy fields because we have had the history of our earth and just how we've lived the last couple of thousand years. It's been very, very traumatizing in many, many ways. And we have that with us. So we have to clear all of that so we can put in new information, i.e. light, in our bodies. So we can operate, we can say, in a different way. Yeah, and I'd like to say just about the intuition. For me, it's like it really is a guidance system and it is a connection to the soul, but it's also to your guides. And you have to remember, I think we have to remember that we are being very guided and protected, and to be to have the awareness that we're not alone, and we're not alone in here on like human to human interaction, but we're also not alone in the more like yeah, spiritual sense, or in the more we do have our guides, and they're very helpful if we ask them to help us. But that's
Yeah.
also something that we have to learn, and to like, for me to be able to take that in that perspective. I've my mom was a psychiatric nurse, and for me to overcome this, to say, okay, I see this, I feel this, I'm being guided by these non-physical beings. Um, for her, it was like you have to be in a mental institution then.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I had so much trauma to clear, and it took me many years and working with a shaman actually to get this cleared in me, so I could allow it to get into my system. So yeah.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing up that we are both guided and protected, because I feel that too, and that's also
Mm,
part of my life.
mm,
And as I see it, why we need to release all old trauma and everything out in our bodies is simply because we are changing into being homo luminous.
mm, mm,
There are different terms, but that's just the term that I have chosen for it
mm,
to, from Homo sapiens to Homo luminous,
mm,
luminous. So that's why our body is so important, because we have to make space for more light or energy, what you want to call it,
mm.
and that
Because we rise in density.
sorry.
Because the density is getting lighter, we have to rise in density. Yeah,
Yes, yeah,
yeah.
precisely,
So because it's too dense,
exactly,
and the
that's the
consciousness
problem.
has been too dense, and we have to become lighter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we have to raise our frequency, and we
Mm,
cannot do that if the body is holding us back. So
mm,
so that's why consciousness is the term that can more readily include the fact that we actually bring our attention down into our bodies,
mm,
instead of focusing more on what the word spirituality does, which to
mm,
me personally
mm, mm,
more signals the other way around.
mm.
But the body is extremely important for us. So, but Christina, oh my God, I'm glad we have more talks, because
Yeah,
oh, just this one talk opens up for so many
yeah,
different aspects that I would love to talk more about already.
yeah, yeah.
But I guess we should perhaps just try to wrap up and say, what do you want to say about consciousness to sum up, Christina?
Mm.
What is it?
What it is?
Why
Yeah.
is it important? Sorry. Why is inner work important?
It is for us to be able to navigate this life much better, and to get a much more full and rich life, and rich in any sense, not money wise necessarily. It's also, of course, a part of that, but because we can be more present when we've done the inner work.
Exactly. So you need to do the inner work simply because um, you need to be able to use your own discernment even more
Mm,
than you perhaps already do.
mm,
But if you're not conscious and present in your body, then it becomes more difficult to make the right choices. And it is very important to be able to just zoom in on your life, and also be able to enjoy what is close to you. Just
mm,
enjoy a flower, if you've overlooked a flower right outside your door, just start paying attention to those small
mm,
things, and just feel how happy it can make you. And again,
mm,
it just grows as
mm,
when you start noticing things close to you. I mean, even a butterfly, it's
mm,
just those small, simple things. When we are so busy, then we forget that, you have a lot of beauty and love just around you, just where you are too.
mm,
So more consciousness rather than striving to get and striving to be materialistic. That is actually the way forward. And our way forward is that we're going to close this first talk now,
mm.
and there will be more, so pay attention and keep an eye on us. And thank you so much. If you are with us now, then you've listened to all of it, I guess. So thank you very much for
Yeah,
that.
excellent. Thank you.
Good job. Christina, thank you very much for joining me
Yeah,
now, and look
thank
forward
you for
to
having me.
seeing you again. Take care, everyone.
Yeah, bye.